Welcome to Pro English Goals. Chronicles of Time Travel, let's dive in. Once upon a time, there was a man named Liam. He was deeply passionate about history and always dreamed of uncovering the secrets of the past. He filled his library with many history books, watched documentaries about ancient civilizations, and visited museums whenever he could. But one day, something happened that would completely change his life. One morning, while cleaning out his attic, Liam came across an old, dusty box. The box looked very old, and inside there was a silver watch. The watch was unlike anything Liam had ever seen before. It had a strange button with the word travel written on it. Intrigued, Liam decided to press the button. Little did he know that at that moment he would embark on the greatest adventure of his life. The moment Liam pressed the button, a brilliant flash of light filled the room, and everything around him began to change. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, he was no longer in his attic. Instead, he stood in the middle of a busy street surrounded by tall stone walls. People around him were dressed in long white robes called togas, and the air smelled of freshly baked bread and olives. The roads were made of large flat stones, and the buildings were impressive and tall, made from marble and stone. He realized that he had traveled back in time to ancient Rome. At first, Liam stood there in awe, trying to understand where he was and what had happened. The people were bustling through the streets, and everywhere he looked, there were merchants calling out,
"Fresh bread! Fresh bread! Olives for sale!"
The sounds of the city filled the air. People were hurrying to and fro, and Liam tried to take it all in. The streets were alive with energy, and the whole scene felt like something straight out of a history book. Liam began to walk down the street, slowly observing the life around him. He came upon a fruit store where a vendor was selling apples. The vendor eagerly shouted,
"Fresh apples! Best apples in Rome!"
Liam smiled and walked up to the stand. He picked up an apple and handed the vendor a few coins. The taste was unlike anything he had ever experienced before. It was sweet, crisp, and incredibly juicy. He marveled at the simplicity and freshness of the food. As Liam continued his walk, his attention was caught by something in the distance. A massive building stood tall against the sky, and Liam recognized it immediately as the famous Colosseum, the grand amphitheater where gladiators fought in ancient Rome. The Colosseum was far larger than Liam had imagined, with its enormous stone arches and towering walls. People were streaming inside, and a loud, excited roar from the crowd echoed from within. Liam felt a sense of excitement and curiosity flood through him. He followed the crowd toward the entrance, eager to see what was inside. Upon entering, he was greeted by the sight of two gladiators locked in fierce combat in the center of the arena. The fighters, clad in armor and armed with swords and shields, battled each other skillfully. The gladiators fought fiercely, moving with agility and strength as they circled each other, striking blows and parrying with precision. For a moment, Liam could hardly believe he was witnessing this event firsthand. He had read about gladiators in his history books, but seeing it in real life was something completely different. The crowd's cheers grew louder with every move, and Liam could feel the energy in the air. Eventually, the fight came to an end, and the victorious gladiator raised his sword in the air as the audience erupted in applause. Liam, still in shock, slowly made his way out of the Colosseum, grateful to have seen such an unforgettable spectacle. As Liam continued walking through the streets, he noticed a young boy sitting on the edge of the road. The boy appeared to be about 10 years old, wearing a simple tunic. He smiled up at Liam and greeted him with a cheerful,
"Hello."
Liam was surprised because he didn't speak the language, but the boy seemed to understand and pointed to his house.
"Come with me."
The boy said. Liam, feeling curious and intrigued, decided to follow the boy. The boy led him to a modest home made of stone, and inside, Liam was greeted by the boy's mother, who was cooking over a small fire. The woman looked up at Liam. The boy introduced Liam to his mother, and she gestured for him to sit at the table. The woman looked up at Liam. The boy introduced Liam to his mother, and she gestured for him to sit at the table. He smiled at the woman, appreciating the hospitality. It was an experience like no other, sitting with a Roman family, sharing a simple meal in the heart of ancient Rome. After the meal, the boy took Liam outside to show him more of the city. They walked through the bustling streets of Rome, passing large marble temples, beautiful fountains, and towering statues of Roman gods. Liam couldn't help but be in awe of the grandeur and beauty of the city. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before, so rich in history and culture. As the day wore on, Liam knew it was time to return. He said goodbye to boy and his family, who waved goodbye and smiled. Liam realized he forgot something and turned to the boy and asked his name. The boy answered,
"My name is Marcus Aurelius."
Liam couldn't hide his surprise. The boy he met on the street was the great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. But Liam knew it was time to return. He said goodbye to Marcus and his family. He pressed the button again, and in an instant he was back in his attic, standing in the same place where his journey had begun. Liam looked around, taking in his surroundings. He was back in his own time, but the memories of his time in ancient Rome would stay with him forever. He had seen the Colosseum, tasted food like the Romans did, and even made new friends along the way. It was an adventure he would never forget. From that day on, Liam knew that time travel was real. He had experienced it firsthand, and he was eager to explore more of the past. But for now, he was content to be home, with the incredible memories of his adventure in ancient Rome.